Do you ever find yourself laying in bed until 3 a.m., wide awake, scrolling on Instagram, binging YouTube videos? Finally, you fall asleep, phone in hand, screen lit up, and battery depleting by the minute. Your alarm goes off a few hours before your first obligation of the day. You snooze, and snooze, and snooze. You realize the time, jump up, and head to the kitchen for some coffee. You have about an hour until you have to be productive. That's plenty of time to enjoy your coffee and watch some YouTube videos, right? You go sit on the couch with the coffee and your phone dies while halfway through your second video of the morning. How did you forget to plug in your phone again? You get annoyed, plug in your phone, and continue watching, now tethered awkwardly to the outlet on the wall. A few videos later, you notice the time again. Guess I should finally get up and do something, you think to yourself as you go over to your computer to start working. But once you start, you realize that it's useless. You feel so unproductive, tired, and distracted that you can barely get anything done. By now it's 2 p.m. Maybe I should make myself another coffee, you think to yourself. So you do. You drink it, have a burst of energy, and get a few hours of quality work in. 4:30 hits, you're feeling super drowsy, and the end is finally near. At 5 p.m., a friend calls, and you tell them you're just having an off day or something. Tomorrow will be better. You close the computer feeling pretty crappy about the whole thing. You make dinner, leave the dishes for the morning, and head to bed thinking, I'll go to bed early so I can fix my schedule tomorrow. But you can't sleep again. Then suddenly in the middle of the night, you have a burst of motivation. You write out a great to-do list for the next day, pull out your phone, and pass out again with the phone screen lighting up your face. The next morning, your alarm goes off at 6 a.m., and you snooze it, and snooze it, and snooze it. Finally, you wake up around 8. You go through the same motions, only today you're like a ticking time bomb. Your partner says one thing that you take out of context, and you get in a huge fight over seemingly nothing. You wallow in self-pity, decide to take 2 sleeping pills to knock out early, and set another alarm for 6 a.m. Well, this was me a few months ago, and honestly, sometimes this still is me. But instead of the random days here and there where this happens, this used to be a vicious cycle for me that I could not get out of. I drank multiple coffees per day, took sleeping pills almost every night, and chalked it up to being anxious and a night owl anyways. My loss of motivation and productivity was just because I was in a slump. It would eventually come back, and then I would be super productive again, right? The problem here is that motivation doesn't make us productive. Productivity comes from discipline. And the problem with discipline when you're living life with the habits that I just described is that you're basically expecting your brain to have the willpower of a 25-year-old when you're treating yourself like a baby. I need sleep, so I will sleep as much as I want. But I don't fall asleep easily. I need something to put me to sleep. Medicine, TV, your phone, anything. I need stimulation, so I'll give stimulation. I get distracted easily. Work is just boring and unfulfilling. Games, videos, anything that lights up is much more interesting. I'm upset, so I'll cry, but never try to understand why, because I'm a baby and I can't communicate. No one would understand me if I even tried. Heck, I don't even understand me. But you know what's on the other side of every baby? A mother. And a lot of them seem to have all of this together. Common questions non-parents ask mothers: how do you do it all? How do you wake up so early and fall asleep so quickly? And I would lose it if I was stuck at home all day with kids. Well, after thinking this over, I found that most mothers have a few things in common. So today I'm sharing with you 3 habits that can turn any unproductive, unmotivated night owl into a focused, calm, and connected morning person. Quick disclaimer, studies show that 1 in 75 people of European descent have the actual genes of a night owl. No, it's not 50-50 like we all seem to think. If you try these habits and they don't fix your sleep issues, then you may be part of the genetic night owl group. However, your motivation and self-awareness will definitely still improve. If you've enjoyed this video so far, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to stop living your life on autopilot and start living your life on purpose. After hearing the story of the baby and the mother, can you figure out what those 3 habits are? The first one is what I like to call a morning sun bath. Babies wake up early, hence a lot of mothers try to wake up before their baby to get just a little bit of alone time, a little bit of focus time to set themselves up for success for the day. New discoveries have shown that our eyes have a special cell that's only function is to set our internal clocks. Now, I'm not a scientist, so check the link in the description to learn more about this from the source, but here is the most important takeaway. When you get up, your body is supposed to send a boost of cortisol to help you wake up and survive the day. And the best way to do this is not from coffee, it's from the sun. For 1 week, try going outside as soon as you can. Bring your coffee with you, that's what I do. And face the sun, whether you wake up at 7 a.m. and catch the sunrise or 11 a.m. Just do it, although sunrise is best if possible. Sit and face the sun directly and allow your eyes to catch the rays of sunlight and signal to your body that it's time to start your internal clock. And no, sitting in front of your window isn't enough. Sitting in your car behind your windshield is not enough. And bright lights in your house do not work. You can get an app that tracks lumens to see the actual difference in each light source, but direct outdoor sunlight has been proven to be 50 times more effective in starting your body's internal clock than any of these diffused light sources. Boosting your cortisol levels through this method early in the morning has been shown to increase serotonin levels, boost your productivity, and help improve your sleep at night, which has an enormous number of other benefits. Again, a reminder, I will have the link to the podcast down below that goes into more detail about this study, and I highly suggest you listen to it. The second habit is a morning dopamine detox. Because mothers don't have a lot of uninterrupted time to get chores done, a lot of them do these tasks in the early morning before their baby wakes up. So they don't wake up, go sit on their phone. They wake up, do the dishes, start breakfast, and get ready for the day. All activities that require low mental energy and allow space for your brain to think and process. Basically, you're trying to mimic the shower thoughts concept or the burst of ideas and motivations that you get when you're laying in bed at night staring at the ceiling, except you're doing this right when you wake up to bring the most motivation and productivity to you early in the day. For more information on this concept, check out the video linked in the description from the psychiatrist Dr. K at Healthy Gamer GG. The third habit is what I like to call fear journaling. Get the fears out and the desires in, and then reflect. Mothers don't have the time or the mental energy to dwell on fears. Instead, they tackle the fears head on. What mother isn't worried about her child, right? Do they sit inside and wrap their baby in bubble wrap? No. They acknowledge the fear and then they face it. They bring their kids to the park, allow them to try to take their first steps, fall, and learn on their own. If you're ready to seriously work on changing your life and start living the life you actually want, you have to be ready to face your fears. I do want to add an extra layer to this one though. In the description below, you'll find a link to a Notion template that I created to go through a fear journaling exercise yourself. I created this template for you and for me. So make sure to download it and duplicate it into your Notion and work on this along with me in 2022. The idea is to write out fears as they come up, and then write what the worst possible outcome could actually even be from this fear. And then lastly, to write out the corresponding desire in your life that brought this fear out in the first place. Then each week, reflect on your fears, read them over, and start progressing to conquer that fear. And then once that fear has been overcome, you get to rewrite that story. I'll share 2 examples with you guys from my own life. The first example is a fear that actually resulted in the worst case scenario, launching my own course. I was so afraid of doing this. Why? Because I thought I wasn't really worth listening to. No one would actually want to learn from me. What was the worst possible outcome? Oh, that no one buys the course, but I guess it's not really that bad. What was my desire? To help people work towards the life they want and face their fears while also working towards that same thing for myself. Did I face that fear? Yes. I spent tons of time learning about course creation, marketing, and a million other things. And what was the outcome? No one bought the course. But I learned a ton, and it pushed me to consider more ways I can help people with lower barriers to entry, such as money. The second is a fear that did not result in the worst case scenario, quitting my 9-to-5 job. Why was I afraid? I thought I would never be able to make money unless I stayed in engineering. If this happened and I had to go back to the corporate world after quitting, my gap in employment would make it impossible for me to land another job. What was the worst possible outcome? I would fail to make money any other way, my husband and I would run out of the money we had saved up, and I would use my entire 401k paying for our expenses. And then, icing on the cake, we'd have to move back home to live with my mom. What was the corresponding desire to this fear? To have financial freedom doing something that actually brought me joy, instead of stress and a subpar paycheck. Did I face this fear? Yes, I quit my job in July of this year, almost 6 months ago now. And what was the outcome? Well, I haven't become financially free, but I did reduce our expenses by almost half. I made enough money to cover our expenses from YouTube and gig work in month 4, and I learned more about myself in the past 5 months than I have in the past 5 years. Both of these fears led me to accomplish things and learn things that I never anticipated. And although sometimes the worst case scenario might come true, the positives from the experience almost always outweigh the negatives. So for 2022, stop living your life out of fear and start living your life with purpose. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below which habit you are most excited to try in 2022. And make sure to come back to this video and give an update after you've tried out any of these habits for a period of time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.